Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 147 based on novel. So let's start. The sensation caused by the Tongtian incident, with the appearance of Xiao Yan, many gossips gradually subsided, but many disciples of the Burning Incense Pavilion knew that from then on, among their Burning Incense Pavilion, there will be an outstanding disciple who will always be remembered by future generations. Xiao Yan. For nothing else, it was because Xiao Yan stayed at the top of the Tongtian River, the 9th level cultivation cave, for a full 2 months, breaking the 20-day history of the Burning Incense Pavilion since its establishment. And when this sensational event just came to an end, the Doji Pavilion of Funxiang Pavilion also arrived as scheduled to open. Doji Pavilion, this is a major feature of Burning Incense Pavilion. It can be said unceremoniously that in the entire Shentian 3 days, except for the Funxiang Pavilion, which will clearly show some precious fighting skills for the disciples to practice, no other sect will do this. This has also created one of the reasons why Burning Incense Pavilion has always been respected by everyone in Xian Santian. After all, many sects love the deep fighting skills and exercises of their respective sects like treasures. Unless the disciples make a significant contribution, they will not easily give it to others to practice. Otherwise, what if others learn to practice and run away? But Burning Incense Pavilion is different. In Funxiang Pavilion, as long as you can comprehend and have a first glimpse of the door, then any sect disciple can learn the advanced martial arts and fighting skills. Even if you leave the sect, Funxiang Pavilion will not say a word. This is the uniqueness of the Funxiang Pavilion, because the Funxiang Pavilion knows that even if a disciple leaves the sect, he is still a disciple of the Funxiang Pavilion. This root cause will not change. In the early morning, the sun was scattered, and many disciples of Burning Incense Pavilion got up early. After all, today was a rare good day. There are countless fighting skills in the Doji Pavilion in the Burning Incense Pavilion. Among them, there are many immortal-level fighting skills that are hard to find in the outside world, and even the Holorank fighting skills are emerging one after another. The Doji Pavilion is divided into 4 floors, of which the first and second floors are open around the clock. After all, most of the martial arts and fighting skills placed in these 2 floors are at or below the celestial rank. This level of fighting skills may be extremely terrifying under the Doji, but at the Doji level, it is no longer enough. As for the 3rd floor of the Doji Pavilion, although it is open around the clock, its strength is not at the level of a 6-star Do Emperor, so the guards will not let people in, because the terrifying power contained in the Doji exercises, if the strength is not enough, I am afraid will cause indelible damage. As for the highest level of the Doji Pavilion, it is also the 4th level. The normal situation here is not open. After all, there are few fighting skills here, but without exception, the fighting skills that can be stored here are all holy rank. However, the 4th floor of the Doji Pavilion will be opened every 6 years in order to let all the disciples of the Funxiang Pavilion try it out. Fish leap from the Dragon Gate to become a Zeon. Everyone, be quiet. The figures of Mu Shuzi and Xiong Yuan slowly appeared in the air, and they were quite satisfied with today's lineup of thousands of disciples. However, even if the 2 of them appeared, many disciples did not find out where the 4th floor of the Doji Pavilion was. The things stored in the 4th floor of the Doji Pavilion are rare treasures, and there are no restrictions. It can be tried by the outstanding disciples of the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people, and even the old monks who sweep the ground. As long as you are a disciple of Burning Incense Pavilion, even if your strength is mediocre, you still have the qualifications to enter. Everyone, be quiet. The 2 deputy hall masters are here. At this time, there was already a sea of people in front of the open space, but after a while, a beautiful figure spoke slowly. With the opening of this beautiful shadow, the surroundings suddenly became quiet, and they all knew that the beautiful shadow who opened the mouth was Ling Xian, the daughter of the current temple master. It seems that you little witch also has a role in critical moments. Xingyu on the side said with some amusing. 4th senior brother. When Ling Xian saw this, she couldn't help but let out a coquettish anger. Most of the time, her own senior brothers made fun of herself. Ha ha ha, it's okay, I'm going to enter the Doji Pavilion today. I don't know how many disciples in the Doji Pavilion will learn advanced Doji exercises. Xingyu, who Ling Xian called the 4th senior brother, smiled slightly. Road. Today these disciples, no matter who they are, even if they have learned a powerful fighting technique, the beneficiary is the Burning Incense Pavilion. I don't know if Xiao Yang and the others are here. Ling Xian glanced around and then spoke. At this time, a large team of thousands of people, Ling Xian and a few people stood at the front, so at first glance, they did not find any trace of Xiao Yang. Everyone be quiet. After a while, Xiong Yuan in midair said directly. The sound contained a huge amount of power, making the already noisy place quiet in an instant. After all, the strength of these disciples are mostly 5-star Do Emperors, and there are very few 6-star Do Emperors. As for the 7-star Do Emperors, I am afraid that only the second senior brother of the Earth Hall, Zhu Yuan. 7-star Do D, this can already be a listed elder of these super sects. As for the 8-star Do D, it is a real elder. Today is the day when the 4th floor of our burning incense pavilion is open. This time, the opening of the Doji pavilion is as usual. All floors 1 to 4 are open. Among them, all people on the 4th floor can enter, but those who have not reached the 6-star Do Emperor's strength need to be accompanied by the person in charge. After all, the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion is the 4th floor. Although the things in the layer are tempting, the crisis should not be underestimated. Everyone should do what they can. 1 month limit. Xiong Yuan Zaidu said. Okay. Fantastic. This time, I must learn the treasure of our palace. As Xiong Yuanhua's voice just fell, thousands of disciples around him said impassively, and the high emotions were obvious. It seems that there are indeed many things in this Do skill pavilion. Xiao Yang stood in the middle of 1,000 people, and the number of people here exceeded Xiao Yang's imagination. Hundreds of people are almost the same, but how could there be such a 1,000-person team? There are holy rank fighting skills in this fighting skill pavilion, and holy rank fighting skills play a decisive role in the battle of the Do Emperor powerhouse. Mu Feng explained slightly. In this Doji pavilion, there is the treasure of the Hall of People, the ruler of the sky. Moving the sky ruler is something that even the Master Golden Dragon King was amazed at. But no one has cultivated for so many years. I'm afraid it's interesting. Xiao Yang said to himself, but he didn't mean to be afraid. The Doji pavilion is coming out. But the next moment, with the sudden change in the palms of Xiong Yuan and Mu Shuzi, an extremely strange force suddenly burst out. In the next instant, a stone gate slowly appeared behind the two of them. The stone gate is extremely simple, but it gives everyone a sense of daze. It seems that there is an extremely tyrannical power in this stone gate. Through the stone gate, Xiao Yang could clearly feel the meaning of vicissitudes in the stone gate. This kind of thing is a symbol of the heritage of a sect. That's the Doji pavilion. I don't know who said something, and the thousands of disciples who were present immediately became excited. Although the Doji pavilion is the one in front of you, the entrance to the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion is not here. Because the value of the things stored in the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion is too precious, it seems to be stored in another space, and the entrance to the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion is controlled by Xiong Yuan and Mu Shuzi, so this is what happened now. The entrance to the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion has appeared. Everyone, let's go. Everything depends on you, but you only have 1 month, you must leave regardless of success or failure within a month. Mu Shuzi saw shaman appearing in the air, and immediately said to the disciples, remember the teachings of the Vice Hall Master. Many disciples quickly agreed, and then their fiery eyes stared at the stone gate. Within that shaman, it should be the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion that they lived up to their expectations. At this time, everyone's cheeks were filled with expressions, and they obviously had their own plans. Okay, since that's the case, let's start. Mu Shuzi smiled at the disciples below, and then he and Xiong Yuan burst out with a dazzling power, attacking shaman. The dazzling power of the two just attacked shaman, and shaman burst out with an extremely desolate atmosphere, and then trembled all over. This stone gate is about to be opened. Xiao Yang's perception was extremely tyrannical. Naturally, knowing that Mu Shuzi and Xiong Yuan seemed to have some connection with this stone gate, he immediately said, we don't want to be the first to enter for a while, go in slowly. After thinking for a while, Xiao Yang felt that Mu Shuzi in the sky blinked his eyes at times, intentionally and unintentionally, and immediately opened his mouth. Not the first to rush in? What should I do if the Do Jigong technique is first used by someone? Mu Feng was surprised when he heard the words. The first person to enter has meat to eat, which must be the truth that everyone knows. If this treasure of the 3rd hall of the burning incense pavilion was learned so easily, then it would not have been established for thousands of years, and there are almost no people who learned it. And it's not necessarily that the first person to enter will have meat to eat. Xiao Yang did not agree with this. If the things of the burning incense pavilion were so easy to learn, the name of this treasure in the palace would be too easy. Boom boom boom. The next moment, following Xiao Yang's conversation, the stone gate slowly opened in the sky, and at the same time, a sense of vicissitudes suddenly reverberated throughout the space. It's such a terrifying aura, no wonder it requires the strength of the 2 deputy hall masters, the 8-star Do Emperor level, to open it. Among the crowd, there were many shrewd people, and they were immediately surprised. Squeak. With a sound, the stone door quietly dissipated, and a terrifying aura of vicissitudes shrouded in an instant. In a short period of time, all the disciples present turned pale. Go. Facing the entrance of the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion, no one dared to act rashly, knowing that there is the treasure of the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people, but after a while, some daring people got up directly, go through the stone gate. They know that if it is delayed, the chances are even slimmer. We are not in a hurry, let them go first. Just as the huge crowd poured into Shaman, the 2nd apprentice brother of the ground hall directly stopped a few people behind him and said slowly, with a calm in his voice. This guy is really calm. As the huge crowd slowly entered Shaman, there were very few people left here. Among them, the Guanglu and Lingyun teams who had conflicted with Xiao Yang before were also here. Hehe, it's really a group of unusual little guys. Mu Shuzi naturally saw at a glance that the figure on the ground at this time was the outstanding generation in the current Hall of Earth and Hall of People, and immediately said, Deputy Hall Master, I don't know. Xiao Yang was not in a hurry, he directly used his soul power, and then left at Mu Shuzi. Xiao Yang has self-confidence. I am afraid that only he and Mu Shuzi can know about the direct communication of soul power. You kid has some strength, no wonder you can persist in that Tongtian river for so long. Mu Shuzi was stunned when faced with Xiao Yang's soul communication, and then said in surprise. This Xiao Yang's soul strength is no less than that of many master alchemists. There are too many people entering the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion this time, but the ones who have achieved results, I'm afraid they won't have the number of hands. Mu Shuzi said to Xiao Yang. Damn, it won't be so low, right? Xiao Yang was surprised when he heard the words. There are thousands of people here. If there are only a few people in the end, the elimination rate seems to be too high. I don't dare to tell others, even I can't see through the secrets of your kid. I hope this time, the treasure of our human palace can be brought back to the world. After all, it has been silent for too long. Shuzi said slowly, with a sense of nostalgia. At this time, everyone on the ground looked at Xiao Yang and Mu Shuzi in dismay. Through some intuition, they could feel that the two seemed to be talking, and then Xiong Yuan could only helplessly. The cough reminded. However, on Mu Shuzi, a white light silently entered Xiao Yang's body, and he didn't know what he wanted to do. Now, only you little guys are left. Mu Shuzi heard Xiong Yuan's cough, and immediately cut off the soul communication with Xiao Yang, and then said to everyone. How many people have successfully cultivated the treasure of the palace? Ling Yun, who was beside him, took a step forward and asked. There were a total of 900 people who entered the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion last time, but in the end, only 3 people succeeded. And these 3 people, 5 years have passed, and now they are already one of the strongest. Mu Shuzi said with a smile. Only 3 people. Xiao Yang, Guanglu, and Zhu Yuan suddenly frowned upon hearing this. This elimination rate. The next moment, everyone said directly in their hearts. Don't worry, since you didn't choose to enter the 4th floor for the first time, then I will send you in directly later, which will save some time. As for obtaining some powerful fighting skills or treasures in the palace, it all depends on your good fortune and luck, Mu Shuzi said with a smile. Damn, this old man actually uses power for personal gain. Thank you for not rushing in just now. It's okay. As Mu Shuzi spoke, the people who were here suddenly breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts. Let's go. However, before everyone could react, there was an aura of vicissitudes on Mu Shuzi's body that was exactly the same as in Shaman, and then a mysterious halo lit up under everyone's feet. The next moment, all the people here disappeared, and when Du appeared, they had already entered the Doji pavilion. You're too bad, right? Xiong Yuan said dumbfounded. You don't understand, so you can train them. Next, let's wait and see. Among the new disciples this time, there are many excellent seedlings, I hope you won't let me down. After Mu Shuzi finished speaking, he slowly stared at Shaman in the sky, apparently preparing to guard it here. When Xiao Yang opened his eyes, he suddenly found that he had left the burning incense pavilion and did not know where he was. I remember that it was Mu Shuzi who used the mysterious power just now, so I should have entered the Doji pavilion now. Xiao Yang was not panicked and started to analyze it slowly. The next moment, Xiao Yang slowly checked. The place where Xiao Yang appeared was a small road in the woods. The green and twisting road led to nowhere, but the strange thing was that Xiao Yang found that there was no way out. Obviously, he could only enter but not exit. This Doji pavilion is probably an alternative space, Xiao Yang said in shock. Generally speaking, the storage of ordinary fighting skills is on some bookshelves at most, which is convenient for management and convenient for reference. However, the higher the level of fighting skills, the more stringent the storage conditions. After all, other high-level fighting techniques, whether it is cultivation method or power, are far from comparable to low-level ones. The storage of holy rank fighting skills even requires a small independent space as the basis, because holy rank fighting skills have already been glimpsed at the level of fighting immortals, and it is impossible to learn just by some language and words, which requires a small world to observe. Once again, let the scholars feel it for themselves. I don't know where this path leads. Xiao Yang shook his head, then walked up slightly. Obviously, after entering here, everyone separated. What? The next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly realized that something strange seemed to flow out of his body, and immediately turned into a white light, swooping directly towards the end of the path. Why does this aura look like Mushu's? Xiao Yang felt incredible as soon as the white light appeared. But after thinking about it, I immediately felt relieved when I thought of Mushu's concern for him on weekdays. A good person, the deputy head of the palace, actually uses power for personal gain. But that's fine. It saves me wasting time looking for it. After all, other fighting techniques are good, but for me, they're not very useful. The only thing I have to do is get this moving ruler, Xiao Yang said with a smile in his heart. Immediately, without hesitation, the speed increased and went directly to the white light. Xingyu. Sacred low-level exercises. Good guy. Darkness. The advanced level of the heavens is comparable to other fighting skills of the holy level. Xiao Yang followed Mushu's white aura slowly, but he looked at many fellow students along the way. Obviously, they all knew that the town hall the treasure is not qualified, so instead of wasting time, it is better to find a fighting technique that suits you. It seems to be coming to an end, Xiao Yang murmured, and then the white aura disappeared, replaced by an extremely dazzling white light. Xiao Yang is here. I don't know who said it, and then the eyes of several people turned away. Damn, these people actually use their power for personal gain. Xiao Yang immediately cursed secretly when he saw these people. Because at the end of this path, there are no less than 6 people. They are Lingxian, Qinxin, Guanglu, Lingyun, Zhu Yuan, and Zhong Wumeng. Naturally, Lingxian, needless to say, after all, the daughter of the palace master of the Earth Palace. As for Qinxin, Xiao Yang vaguely guessed that this person was extremely powerful, so it was not surprising. It's not surprising that Zhu Yuan and Zhong Wumeng, after all, they are the best 2 in the Hall of Earth. What made Xiao Yang surprised was that Lingyun, who was so poor, actually came here. Okay, how did you come here? I believe everyone knows it well, but if you want to go to your own palace to see if you can get the treasure of the palace, you still need to pass this level. According to my guess, the defense here is strong, but gathering the strength of the 7 of us should be enough to tear a gap for a short time. I believe that it will not be difficult for you, Zhu Yuan said first. Obviously, even if it is his 7-star Do Emperor level, strength was also quite helpless to the restriction in front of him. Brother Zhu, why does this restriction exist? Why can't you crack even a powerful person like you? Qinxin said in surprise. Zhu Yuan's strength was the half-step 7-star Do Emperor before, but since he came out of Tongtian River, his strength has also broken through the 7-star Do Emperor. If even he is helpless, I am afraid that this time he can only return without success. Hey, don't say that. Although I am powerful, the restrictions here are somewhat mysterious, so according to my estimation, only the 7 of us can be gathered together. Zhu Yuan smiled. I agree. Ling Xian walked out slightly and said, I agree too. The next moment, Zhong Wumeng spoke instantly. We agree too. After hesitating for a while, Guanglu and Lingyun also spoke. At this time, among the 7 people, no one agreed, and the only ones left were Qinxin in the Heavenly Palace and Xiao Yang in the Human Palace. Bet you didn't know these facts about Indira Gandhi. Ground rules to keep your bedroom a sanctuary. 14 cinematic breakups that left us cheering. Now there are only 2 people from our Human Palace and your Heaven Palace left. What do you think? Xiao Yang whispered to Qinxin. I don't know why, since the original deal was concluded, Qinxin's attitude towards Xiao Yang was no longer cold. I don't know if it was because of the deal or other reasons. According to the information I got, the treasure of the 3 halls is indeed at the end of this path. Well, That's the white ban blocking the way in front of us. So my suggestion, let's join forces to break the ban first. Qin Xin thought for a while, but couldn't think of a good solution. When Xiao Yang heard this, his dark pupils moved slightly, obviously thinking about something. Among the people in front of them, the weakest one is also in the late stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. As for Zhu Yuan, he has reached the early stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. If there is a conflict here, only Xiao will suffer. Yang himself, after all, Xiao Yang knew that 5 of the 7 people were from the Hall of Earth, and Xiao Yang didn't seem to have a very friendly relationship with these 5 people. It's not too late, let's start now. Seeing that Xiao Yang and Qin Xin had no doubts, Zhu Yuan opened his mouth slightly. I don't know what we should do. Although he decided to temporarily let go of his personal grievances and cooperation, but with Xiao Yang's character, he would definitely not be taken as a foe to take the lead. You don't have to do it, you just need to send the fighting spirit in your body to me. With the restriction in front of me, I can use my strength and the strength of the 6 of you to tear a gap in a short period of time. Zhu Yuan said, but the extremely crazy confidence in his voice could not be concealed. He is really a ruthless man, no wonder he can become the 2nd senior brother of the Earth Palace. Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the words, and then he said with admiration. Although Zhu Yuan said it was easy, it was extremely difficult to do. First of all, the power of as many as 7 people is directly transmitted to Zhu Yuan. If Zhu Yuan is not careful enough to adjust it, I am afraid that this terrifying power can directly blow Zhu Yuan alive. Moreover, just by relying on strength, a gap can be torn apart. Xiao Yang admires this kind of heart and courage. The 2nd apprentice brother Zhu Yuan of the Earth Hall, the 7-star Doji strongman, truly deserves his name. Get ready. Zhu Yuan first adjusted the aura in his body, waited until he returned to his peak state, and then said to everyone around him. After all, the mysterious restriction in front of him is extremely powerful. If it wasn't for his peak state, Zhu Yuan would not have the confidence in himself. Yes. Everyone agreed in unison in their hearts, and then there was a dignified look in their pupils. They all know that it is this prohibition that stands in front of them. As long as this prohibition is broken, the location of the treasure of the town hall among the 3 halls will appear at that time. Whether or not the treasure of the town hall can be obtained at that time depends on their own good luck, but before that, you must pass the level in front of you, otherwise everything is nonsense. Go. There was a flash of determination in Zhu Yuan's eyes, and then the dazzling energy of life burst out, and a frightening force came out. With the appearance of this power, Xiao Yang's mouth was slightly surprised. This guy. It's actually an 8th grade life force. The power of life at the 8th rank level is extremely fearful, even some sect elders may not possess it. Boom boom boom. Zhu Yuan's dazzling power of life directly hit the mysterious restriction, and the mysterious restriction immediately swallowed up Zhu Yuan's power as if it could devour endless vitality. Zhu Yuan's power and the mysterious restriction continued to stalemate, but the 6 people present knew that Zhu Yuan's power was slowly weakening. Give me strength. At the same time, Zhu Yuan shouted loudly. He could feel that his power was slowly being eroded by this mysterious restriction, but this mysterious restriction also became weak under his attack. Go, go, go. Zhu Yuan took the lead, and the other 6 did not dare to be distracted. They were always paying attention to Zhu Yuan. If something went wrong, they would immediately take action. After all, the 7 of them were all grasshoppers on a rope. Boom boom boom. Zhu Yuan's voice just fell, and immediately beside him, 6 groups of extremely dazzling vitality of life suddenly rushed towards Zhu Yuan's body. Shabu shabu. Seeing this, Zhu Yuan didn't hesitate, he suddenly opened his mouth and took a breath, directly absorbing this power, and immediately stalemate with this mysterious ban. I'm afraid this mysterious restriction comes from the hands of Doji, otherwise it would not be possible to use the power of the 7 of us. However, I don't know who came up with the idea of the 4th floor of the Doji pavilion. It's so complicated. Xiao Yang shook his head slowly. Obviously, if it wasn't for the guidance of the white light from Mu Shuzi, he might have gotten lost. Come again. After several twists and turns, Zhu Yuan found that even if he gathered the power of 7 people, he was a little powerless in the face of the mysterious ban, but he did not hesitate. Prepare. Enter. Zhu Yuan is also a trustworthy person. After a while, the mysterious restriction was torn apart, and Zhu Yuan's life force increased instead of decreasing. Obviously, Zhu Yuan could have been the first to enter. Yes, but he didn't. If Zhu Yuan was the first to enter when the gap was torn apart, I am afraid that the other 6 would not be able to enter. Let's go. Xiao Yang and the others couldn't help but admire Zhu Yuan a little more, then looked at each other. Without hesitation, they swept away. Boom, boom, boom. Everything happened between electric sparks. When the other 6 people flickered in, Zhu Yuan also moved and swept in instantly. At that time, the most outstanding people in the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people will all enter. As soon as the 7 people entered, they were dispersed by a mysterious force. Obviously, this mysterious force was divided according to the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people they were in. This is. As soon as Xiao Yang entered the innermost part of the Doji pavilion, he suddenly felt an extremely vicissitudes of life, and the whiteness in front of him made Xiao Yang look like a blind man. Go. In the next instant, Xiao Yang controlled the huge soul force in his body to explode directly, and scattered away in all directions, obviously wanting to investigate. Strange thing. It wasn't long before Xiao Yang discovered that the soul force he had summoned had not returned, as if it had been swallowed up by something. Xiao Yang felt such a change and was immediately surprised. This should be the place where the treasure of our human palace exists, but why is this? Xiao Yang said in a deep voice. Try this. Xiao Yang thought about it, and immediately said. Xiao Yang, a disciple of the human palace, came to seek the treasures of the human palace. I hope all the seniors can help me. Xiao Yang said directly. And as Xiao Yang's voice just fell, the white mist that enveloped the surroundings all dissipated, as if he understood Xiao Yang's words. And at the moment when this voice appeared, Xiao Yang clearly felt that the ancient ruler of eternal fire behind him seemed to emit a very pleasant vibration, and the appearance of this mysterious place was also taken into the eyes of Xiao Yang. Here, not only is the deepest part of the Doji pavilion, but also an extremely huge stone hall. The whole stone hall is square, and the grey copper stone hall is obviously in danger. In the stone hall, 8 large stone pillars directly support the entire hall. Above the hall is a huge stone wall. I don't know what it does. In the center of the hall, there seems to be something looming. But there are no more and no less, and there are also 8 steps. 8 stone pillars and 8 steps adding this mysterious voice. Xiao Yang seemed to sense that something was wrong. Hey, let me in. But when Xiao Yang hesitated, a big hand pushed Xiao Yang in directly. At that time, Xiao Yang's figure poured into the stone hall uncontrollably. Damn it. Xiao Yang just noticed the mysterious big hand and was about to make a move, but it was directly pushed into the stone hall by the mysterious big hand, and Xiao Yang found that the power above the mysterious big hand, he was actually unable to resist. Just stepping into the stone hall, in addition to a very vicissitudes of life, there is also a very ancient taste. Xiao Yang poured into the stone hall without moving his footsteps. After all, the location of this stone hall was exactly what Mu Shuzi had told him back then, and it was the location where the treasures of their human hall were stored. Moreover, Xiao Yang's intuition told himself that this stone palace is definitely not simple. If he moved randomly and accidentally touched the mechanism, it would be worth the loss. Then Xiao Yang turned his eyes slowly and glanced at the stone hall. The area of this stone hall is not small. I am afraid it is hundreds of meters in size. The arrangement of the 8 stone pillars does not seem to be random, and it is in order. In addition to the 8 raised steps in the center of the stone hall, Xiao Yang's eyes became serious. Boy, who is your master? Just as Xiao Yang glanced at the stone hall, a contemptuous voice suddenly sounded in the stone hall. The 5th watch is coming. Please recommend and ask for a monthly pass for a reward. Who is it? Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the words, and then became vigilant. I have heard this voice just once, but that time, when I just entered here to clear the clouds, and now this voice is appearing. Xiao Yang is basically certain that this voice should be the treasure of their human palace. There are some important relationships. Who is it? Xiao Yang looked around vigilantly and said coldly. This is the place where the treasures of the human palace are stored. Who do you think I am? The mysterious voice did not seem to be afraid that Xiao Yang would know the secret here, and he took the initiative to tell Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang, a disciple of the human palace, has seen Senior. Xiao Yang was overjoyed when he heard the words, but the next moment he clasped his fists. This mysterious voice alone made him feel powerless, and I am afraid its strength is also extremely terrifying. In addition, this voice appeared in the treasure storage place of the Hall of Humanity, so Xiao Yang didn't need to think about it. He immediately said respectfully, Xiao Yang. But I just want to know who your master is. Who can teach such a terrifying disciple? I'm quite curious. The mysterious voice opened his mouth, but he didn't mean to show up at all. My master is Mu Shuzi, the deputy master of the human palace. Xiao Yang heard the words and spoke directly. Mu Shuzi. Impossible, Mu Shuzi doesn't have the strength of Joshing Do Di. It is absolutely impossible to teach such a perverted disciple. Impossible, impossible. The mysterious voice said 2 sentences of impossible in a row, with great certainty in his tone. The younger generation is indeed a disciple of the human palace. In the human palace, he was taught by Mu Shuzi, and he was fortunate enough to be accepted as a disciple by Laozhu. Seeing that he did not believe this voice, Xiao Yang had to carry out Zhu Jin immediately. Xiao Yang could feel that what was in his body, Sheng Yang, seemed to have been discovered by this mysterious voice, but the soul-devouring talisman and the deeper Fen Zhu and Xiao clan lines were not discovered. It's actually the old guy Zhu Jin. No wonder he has holy flame and huge spiritual power. And you guy, your soul power is not weak. Damn, such a good seedling. If I hadn't promised the pavilion master that the old guy would guard here for hundreds of years, I really wanted to you over. After the mysterious voice said, a space in the stone hall trembled slightly, and then from an old man came out. The old man was dressed in white, simple clothes and a smile on his face, which made people's eyes shine, and he was extremely loving. Senior. Xiao Yang was surprised when the old man appeared. Okay, even though you are Zhu Jin's apprentice, but you are still a little short of the time to obtain the treasure of the palace in our human palace. The old man smiled at Xiao Yang. When Xiao Yang heard this, he was secretly surprised, and then a bad thought emerged. This is indeed the place where the treasures of the Hall of People are stored. And I'm not afraid to tell you that the treasure of Runjian Town Store is on the 8 raised steps in the center of this stone hall. The old man smiled slowly, but there was a different funny in his smile. Sure enough. Seeing this, Xiao Yang naturally found something looming in the 8 raised steps. The power contained in that thing was extremely huge, and it made Xiao Yang faintly uneasy. There will be nothing more than the treasures of the temple. However, do you know why no one has successfully cultivated this thing for thousands of years? Seeing Xiao Yang's ecstasy, the old man opened his mouth slightly. Junior, I don't know. I also invite Senior. Xiao Yang's voice had not finished. The old man laughed. Because, to be honest, I don't know either. The treasure of our human hall is a scroll of low-level fighting skills of the Holy Order, called the Heaven-Shifting Ruler. It is said that in ancient times, the power of cultivating the heaven-moving ruler could kill a real Do Shenqiang with this attack. Boss, the old man said slowly, his voice full of covetousness for that fighting skill. This fighting skill is actually so terrifying. Xiao Yang heard that and was secretly surprised. Although he did not know how terrifying a fighting immortal powerhouse was, being able to kill a fighting immortal powerhouse with a low-level holy rank fighting technique was enough to demonstrate the extraordinary fighting skills. But this fighting skill is extremely strange. Even if our pavilion master makes a move, we cannot spy on the mysteries. I am afraid that this fighting skill has not been successfully cultivated for thousands of years. It should be waiting for someone who belongs to it. The old man continued. Isn't the powerhouse of fighting immortal able to spy on the mysteries of this? Xiao Yang said slowly in his heart. Although Xiao Yang had never seen the strength of Fenxiang Pavilion's pavilion master, he didn't need to think about it. He knew that this guy was definitely at the level of Doji, otherwise Fenxiang Pavilion would not be included in the ranks of supersects. 14 special things he'll do only if he's madly in love with you. Ground rules to keep your bedroom a sanctuary. 10 best boxers in the world right now. Number 2 will surprise you. Now, are you still planning to practice this fighting skill? After the old man finished speaking, he asked Xiao Yang after returning to his senses. Think. Xiao Yang said directly without thinking. I left the other 2 halls of heaven, earth and Ren, and joined the hall of people, and then participated in team competitions, in order to obtain the cultivation method of moving the sky ruler, and now this thing is in front of me, not so easy to give up. Good boy, courageous. I admire you very much. Seeing Xiao Yang's unwavering look in his eyes, the old man said with satisfaction immediately. I haven't met such an excellent boy for many years. I hope this time we can carry forward the fighting skills of our human temple throughout the entire Shenzhen Santian, and it will not be a waste of the name of moving the sky. The old man smiled. Now that you've made up your mind, let's get started. However, if you want to gain access to this method of fighting skills, you must do one more thing. The mysterious old man smiled slowly, and then stared at the 8 stone pillars around the stone hall. Above the 8 stone pillars, there seems to be a strange aura. What? Xiao Yang was also surprised, because there are other things that need to be done to cultivate the treasure of the palace, but Mu Shuzi never mentioned it to himself. Before you, a total of 312 people entered here, but they all failed without exception. They all lost in the first step. The old man said slowly. The first step. Xiao Yan was also puzzled. The old man stared at the 8 stone pillars in the stone hall and said something to himself. Let's start. Although I have to admit that you are the second best person I have seen in our human palace for thousands of years, the rules cannot be broken. After the old man finished speaking, the old palm lifted slightly, and at the same time, the dull 8 stone pillars suddenly burst into a trace of anger, and then they seemed to come alive. Damn! Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but feel heavy, because Xiao Yang found out that after the 8 stone pillars came alive, the figure of the old man disappeared, and in the stone hall, there was an ancient aura also wake up slowly. This video will end here.